Call to order the Board of Water Commissioners meeting for October 2nd, 2018. First order of business is old business number 1. Discuss application for abatement, 50 Mansion Drive. This was brought up to us, John, at the last meeting.
Yeah?
And
The one that I missed.
yes, the one I was, yeah, 2 meetings ago.
Yeah.
Last meeting that you missed. I had quite a few concerns with the timing as far as when he decided to fix it.
Yeah.
It took him 3 months to decide, after getting 3 bills, to decide to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And when he did decide to submit the application, it was well beyond the time set for our policy, which I just have up here.
Mm-hmm.
Just to refresh my memory.
How much is it looking for?
A significant amount of money, I remember.
$1,140, yeah, for the abatement.
The abatement is $1,143.
So the leak was going on for how many months? 4 months?
3 months, 3 or 4 months, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then they decided to...
Then they decided to, why their bill was high.
And then they waited 4 months before they filed for the abatement?
Yeah, it was well outside of the window here. We have to put, it has to be put in within 60 days according to. Customers must request in writing the water plant consider abating the charges, including the above information, and request within 60 days after discovering the leak. So they fix it the day they claim they discovered it. But even at that, it was well in excess of 60 days.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't, that was,
I believe this account also owes us a lot of money.
That's the other account.
this,
The other account.
not this particular one, but.
So the owner of said account, let me put it that way, the owner of several accounts, but that owner in one of their accounts owes the department, the town, a lot of money.
Without even knowing it doesn't meet the criteria.
Yeah, it doesn't, so what's the discussion? It doesn't meet the criteria, so I mean, is there a discussion
He didn't agree with me.
that it didn't meet the criteria?
Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't an issue of whether it met the criteria or not, it was whether they had to apply the criteria in this situation. I don't believe that whatever has happened with another legal entity, from our point of view,
Mhm.
probably from his point of view as well, is immaterial from my.
Yeah, and that's why that hasn't played into any of my comments.
Well, I wouldn't concur. I think if you have 4 businesses, and one of your businesses is deadbeat, that if you're looking for amelioration of another problem in business number 3, that if business number 1, and you are said owner of it, I'm not disposed to bending or making to adjusting the situation in the one, and as Mark said, it did meet the criteria. Generally, sometimes we would consider that, but given that, nope.
So,
I'm not favorably disposed whatsoever.
Yeah, the April 13th was when they fixed it,
Mhm.
so it goes 60 days from there. So you're talking May, June, so then you got July and August.
so
Like I
it's,
said,
it's a
double
logic,
the
it's a
amount of
logical,
I would possibly, if they came here and they talked to us, number one, and told me, well, why didn't they do it, or they weren't aware of it, that'd be one thing, and then, but secondly, nope.
as, the fact that he is out of the policy,
This is all the original stuff.
is out of the window for submitting, and delaying leak and resolving the leak, and the initial leak was what I would regard as material, then I don't, we should reject the abatement request. But it's,
Just for the record, I did,
on record as saying it has nothing to do with whatever is going on with his other accounts.
I invited Mr. Conley to come back and join us at this meeting. I told him we'd be putting it off, and I gave him the date and time, so. So, somebody make a motion?
I'll make a motion to reject the abatement.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, so I've been slow in making progress, but I have made progress.
Job descriptions, number two.
So the detailed job descriptions, this is not the right time to go through them, and I still have to kind of sit down with Rob and Bob to scrub through them to make sure that they're willing to sign off on them. But I did want to kind of lay out what we'd talked about before, and now in much more detail, is to link the grade levels to licenses. So what you see in this chart, proposed grade levels for our water department, basically shows that we can use the attaining of both the treatment and distribution licenses plus the commercial driver's license as steps in the steps in the salary ladder, which allows people then to kind of make real career progress without having to wait a huge long length of time, nor having to wait to fill dead men's shoes.
The other concern I have is we're moving people up in grades. I don't want them to have to go get interviewed once they meet these criteria. It should be a vote. I mean, they shouldn't
Well,
have
that's
to
what-
interview for a new job position every time.
Right, which is why I don't want to have all different job descriptions, because then there becomes a presumption that there's a different job, and the reality is there aren't.
Right.
It
It's
just
just
is.
a promotion in the job that you're in.
So, yeah, it's a promotion, yeah. And
If there are two people, let's say it this way, if there are two people and we have one slot, then there would be.
no, the way this is set up, that's immaterial. We're moving
Okay.
away from what's called a ranking job to
Mhm.
this is a ranking man system, where if you've got a T2, D2 license, even though you can't be the chief operator, we're going to pay you for the fact that you've got those two licenses.
I totally agree with that, being having gone through that
So-
licensing process.
So the one open issue here, which Rob and I talked about it before, but I've forgotten what we said, which is we only want to give credit in terms of a grade increase if the achievement of that license requires the demonstration of real skills. The T1, the treatment licenses and the distribution licenses certainly do. The commercial Class B commercial driver's license does as well. What I couldn't remember is what the hoisting license, whether that's
I
just,
wouldn't say it's easy to get, but it's less time consuming, because a hoisting license, you can, you study for the exam, you take the exam, you pass, you're now a hoisted engineer technically. As opposed to like the CDL where you do have to study for the course, take the exam, then you have to actually sit for the road course exam with a state trooper to show that you have skills before you're actually handed a license.
so even though we have in the job descriptions we're saying that a hoisting license is needed, I don't think that license equates to a change in grade level, because there's no demonstrated skills, it's just sitting down taking the exam.
Well, the CDL is a condition of employment.
Right,
So when you meet the conditions of your employment, meaning your operator in training T1, operator in training D2, and your CDL, those are the things that are free to required, right?
Right, which
There should be a grade increase at that point.
right. So what we've got is, if you step through it, is you get from a grade 6 to a grade 7, if you essentially would obtain one real license, either a commercial driver's license B, Class B, or the full grade treatment 1. That would move you from 6 to 7. So you don't have to have a full grade treatment 1 to move from 6 to 7. Because if just your commercial Class B commercial driver's license plus the OIT will give you that.
What you got to remember is to get your full licenses, you have to have hours on the job.
Right. No, that's why this is not. You can't suddenly within a short period of time go from grade 6 to grade 11.
And you really have to concentrate on either the D or the T to get your hours in.
Correct. So it's not. We're still looking at a career ladder of, I estimate, of about 7 or 8 years if somebody was really good at doing what they're doing to move through this. So the other thing is then the other chart is we've simplified, and I didn't have the old one with me, but I've just basically rewritten this revised staffing plan so that I don't really care. We can call them kings and queens of treatment and distribution as far as I'm concerned. But we've got a chief operator of treatment and a chief operator of distribution, the same requirements. They need a full T2 or above to hold that position. They can have more, but that's what the minimum requirement is. And then below that is just a water treatment office operator, and it's a full T1 or above. And then the lowest level is the operator in training, which is the person who's is essentially signed up to be an OIT T1. So those principles are then kind of written into the more.
Yeah, I think having the titles we have now just don't really mean anything. I mean, a foreman and assistant foreman and no workers. I know, but I think the job name should be more what they really are.
Well, and we don't want to get rid of this notion of
Chain of
there's a
command.
position. There's a position. Well, the chain of command should still operate from between the chief, the primary, and the secondary. Those should mean something. But the foreman, assistant foreman, it's a really odd term.
I thought so
Doesn't
too.
make any sense.
And of course, water superintendent is above all these and brings the two divisions together.
So I'd shared the rewrite of the superintendents last time. It's included in this do I include it in this
I
package?
don't think I saw it.
No, I didn't see it either, Brian.
Sorry,
Yeah, I don't have a superintendent one in here.
I was here so early. Kathy, could you make,
Yeah.
copies? So, we still haven't figured out a grade level, so that's still to be negotiated with town.
Have you had any meetings with the personnel board?
There's going to be once we've got these all settled, and we've agreed on what they should be, then Debbie said that before we go to the full personnel committee, we'll sit down with her and one other person and kind of go through it and make sure everything is kind of, so we don't have if there's a loop, it's a faster loop and we're
Right.
using all the personnel.
No, do
They
you know
don't-
where they
they-
stand on as far as they're doing some surveys on job positions and bays?
That's all I was told, and it's supposed to be coming back in October.
Okay, I didn't know it was coming back. I
It's
just-
supposed to be coming back now, but I have no clue. I haven't seen anything,
Mhm.
so I don't know how they're approaching it. And they haven't asked us for input either, so
Mhm.
that's kind of disturbing. I don't mean disturbing. That's just a problem because the external person is running blind, basically, because they haven't got any input from us as to what the.
So this is the previous one?
No, this is the revised. This is
Revised.
a revised version, but there's nothing really substantively different.
Okay.
The format is slightly different, and it encompasses something that I think I'm going to redo the ones I've just done, to separate out. There's two categories in the job description template that the town uses, which is duties and complexity of work. Those conceptually don't make a great deal of sense. The complexity of work should be something that's parameterized in the sense of a job is either complex or it's not complex. But instead, the way it was used before, it essentially lists out all the job duties. So I'm going to flip those with the next round so that what's currently listed under the job complexity, a lot of that stuff is going to be moved up to duties. And so the complexity is really going to look much closer to what the board superintendent's complexity is, which does basically say what the complexity dimension. The water superintendent, for example, is having to manage multiple complex projects with different timelines and different kinds of deadlines and the amount of organizations that are also involved. So that's complexity in its true sense. And that's different from the one that's been currently used. So that aspect will be written into the other job descriptions for distribution and treatment. And all three of the primary, secondary, and entry-level positions for both treatment and distribution are in those packages.
So we can look these over and you can report back to us at the next meeting.
Will we be ready to vote at the next meeting?
If he's ready, please.
Yes. No, I'll be ready at the next meeting. The issue
You set
is
us up.
how much time you guys want to kind of read through them.
I think they're, pretty much there. Personally, I'll just look at whatever changes and enhancements you've made and then.
Don't we have a deadline for the personnel board to meet and the,
No, they've got no meeting set.
Okay,
That's,
so,
so what's gonna happen is, when they come back with the ratings of the department head positions, then that will trigger a personnel board meeting.
so do we not have a deadline for the negotiations with the union in November?
No,
Oh, good,
So
okay.
we don't have to negotiate these with the union?
we do, but apparently they're on separate tracks. So when I spoke to Debbie, she had no specific timeline for the negotiations or for.
They haven't even
personnel.
approached the union yet for negotiations, just so you know.
Yeah, we're also not changing their grade system in pay rates, we're just changing what the job description grades are.
Okay, so we're not,
Their pay scale system doesn't say a water operator is paid at a grade 9. It just tells you what grade 9 is paid, what a grade 9 would be paid. It doesn't say if that's a water operator or if that's a heavy equipment operator or anything like that.
so it's not gonna tie us up for another year?
We haven't got to run it by them, but I don't see where they're, they don't have it written down in the contract that a water operator needs to be at a grade 8 or grade 9 pay scale.
Yes,
Okay.
I haven't read the ASME contract in a while, so I don't know exactly what
I've
it
read it
says.
several times.
So,
Not in there.
again,
Okay, good.
in the discussion I had with Debbie, she was not averse to moving in this direction.
I mean, we're not trying to hide anything or change anything, other than make it better easier to manage and incent the employees to get more licenses.
Right, not get someone stuck in just one grade
Yeah.
pay scale.
It's a win-win all around.
She
that's the whole idea.
understands, Debbie understands that, and she's in favour of, she recognises that. Other issues, she's not on board with, so.
Hence my discussions.
Right.
Benefits. All right, we all set with that? We're gonna do old business number 3, new business number 1, and new business number 3 all together.
Old business 3, what was the other two?
New business,
New business,
why don't we do old business number 4 and we'll clean up that, then we'll do the,
okay, so,
Old
but it's
business
old
number
business 3 with new business 1 and new business 3. That's kind of intertwined.
yeah, so we'll just do old business number 4 and we'll just clean that section up.
So the only thing on this, well, do you want to catch us up, Kathy?
Yeah.
It's really just saying that the pre-lien letters will be going out the beginning of November, the 5th or 6th. And that's really all the news there is. And then we just go from there. Whoever has that, who still has their, the bills that haven't been paid, go to lien. And they
That's pretty,
coordinate it with the town hall.
Do we review this before? Did we do that in the past?
we could have, I don't remember, to be honest with you.
It's okay. No, it is what it is.
Mm.
Just make sure that we do a due diligence to make sure that we don't put liens on when someone's
Mm-hmm.
age inappropriate.
Well,
Well, we don't shut off, but I think we,
yeah, I
don't
think
we
the
do
liens
liens?
may be a different issue.
Oh, it was the shut-off.
The shut-offs we don't do.
Okay, the liens, yeah, all right, that's right, sorry. I was
Yeah.
confused.
Those are with
Because
the town
we
hall.
wanna be able to change, when the place changes hands, we need to recoup
I
our.
recall.
Good, forgot about that.
So the only thing I had on this was if there's any way of increasing the amount of time between the lien letter and the upcoming bill, so that the lien letter gets paid attention to. I don't remember if there's any visual cues that the lien letter looks completely different from the bill. If it's just comes from Penachuk, then it's the same. If it's in a different envelope or different colored paper, then fine. But it needs some kind of, make sure that it's clearly distinguished, because some people just particularly the people who are subject to liens, may just simply put the water bill to one side.
That's why they're getting lien.
Yeah, exactly. So then the point that the lien letter is kind of diminished by the fact that that the two things are coming. It's the beginning of the month, and I get my water bill. But that's not a showstopper. Go ahead if there's no.
All right, we all set? We're doing the bill format. It's kind of falling into the data logger and
So this is just, the billing format has just shown up. And I haven't looked at it, and it just looks like there's no thought or design that's actually gone into this. They've just put it on bills. It's not tied back to what presented issue was that kind of forced us to, it's not easily tied into the presenting issue that Joe Perry had.
right.
So I think we need to,
I will say that on the first page, the way the use history is, I like that.
yes.
I find that the one we're using now is extremely busy.
Yeah, that's hard to read.
And my thought on that one, the history should include the bill as well, the amount.
Yeah, current format C is yeah,
Yeah,
When you really, I mean,
so is D. I mean, they're just not as crisp as they should be.
so those are pluses, but the other issue that Joe Perry had was the issue between the credit, the discount, how the discount is represented on the bill, and that does not seem to have been addressed in the top one. But the thing is, none of us have had a chance to look at this. I haven't spoken to Tara.
no,
She hasn't been available. And so I think we should hold this for the next meeting and take a more detailed look at it and come back.
yeah, I got a quick look at it last night, but
So the current format, D does show discount amount.
Excuse me. So Tara did ask that she could speak with you in a conference call or anything, because last time we voted, that you voted to,
Yeah,
use you as a spokesperson with her, so if you, although you did have a small conference with her, remember, in my office? That was not
no,
in
I was,
detail.
the one thing I would suggest is something of this idea
Yep.
for the usage would be a big plus. And down when you're paying, it should say amount due minus discount if paid before.
Yep.
But I think we're all on the same page with that, so
yeah.
you can handle it right, that'd be great.
It's pretty straightforward. Just disappointing that they didn't get us closer to where we needed to be.
And what's the question with the data lines?
So we have been doing so many data loggers. Rob could probably speak this better, but Bob.
Yeah, a lot of data loggers. Did you do something like where the first data logger, if you have if you believe to have a leak in your house, it's free, you can come out and do it, no charge. But after that, we can't have the same resident calling us at least once a week to have us demand them to come back and do another data logger several days after we just did a data logger, which records 90 days prior usage. So one data logger is, you have full 90 days worth of history on that one that you do. And we had a few different people that have called us in several times in a row to have us continue doing data loggers for them. Even after the leak's been fixed, it was shown on the second data logger, which I don't even mind going out there a second time just to double check on, make sure that the leak was fixed and the homeowner's all set. But some people like to recall us several times for the next couple of weeks.
So why don't we say 1, 2, and anything beyond that in a 90-day period is a chargeable event.
Right.
Because we do want people to call, we do want to do it, and then for the double check, Sure, it makes sense if you want, some surrounding safety,
You,
but beyond that, in the 90 period,
90 days.
I think you guys get all together, get up a policy where you think it'll work,
Yeah.
and research what the charge may be. I would think it'd be at least a labor charge of an hour.
Right. And it's getting to the point where they could just easily just write their reading down each day, and that's the same thing as the data logger. The data logger is not telling them anything new.
what do other towns do now?
I don't know.
That's probably a good idea. Maybe you can research
I
that.
guarantee they just do a labor charge, whatever it costs for an hour's worth of labor.
In fairness, Penachuk said none of the
She doesn't
systems,
believe, well, from their
nobody
experience.
charges for it.
But if we've got a recidivism rate with respect to people that just want to think, oh, hey, this week I'll call again, not calling again. So we just want something in place where you can put a stop to it, or duly charge them, not say no, but.
Right.
Because we do
Somewhere along the
have,
line, we have to be like, hey, listen, no more.
Enough somehow.
but we have the policy for you to back you
Yeah,
up.
so,
Right.
And we don't have a huge staff of people to be running around doing it.
that's the big issue.
Yeah.
It takes like 45 minutes, doesn't it, Mark?
It takes a while, yeah.
So if you could maybe research it in the neighboring towns,
Mm-hmm.
see what they do, maybe come up with a policy amount of times the payment, and when you do that, if you could send it out to the three of us, so we can see it in advance, and if we have any questions, we can send it back to them,
Kathy.
to Kathy, and
And Rob,
they can review your questions and maybe make changes ahead of time. Then we can review it as a board at the following meeting.
Sound like a good home.
So can I make a suggestion, is that
Yep.
on the website, we kind of put some instructions and you give, so we lay out something that's akin to the policy, but then also if you need to check whether your leak has been fixed, here's how you read your meter.
Right, there are plenty of things that the customer can do on their own before they even need to call us. Like looking at their water meter for starts, if there's water going by it, maybe they should look to see what's running.
Yeah.
Instead of going straight to, I need a data logger.
Right, so whatever,
When
so
it's all in
some kind
place.
of, frequently asked questions element, do I have a leak?
Yeah.
How do I check whether I have a leak? Even though you think it's obvious, it isn't. So, a lot of people don't even know where their water meter is, so.
Okay.
Okay, and the last thing
They
is,
don't know where their gas meters are. That's
Discuss-
all gas shut-offs, that's for sure.
I don't know if I'm.
yeah, discuss adopting a bill adjustment policy and non-compliance policy.
Excuse me, did we skip new business number 2?
Yes, because we're doing
Just for the billing, the
three-
Penachuk related.
3, 1, and
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
3.
Yeah.
Then we'll go back to 2.
Pretty interesting. Bill adjustment and compliance.
No, did I do this now?
Excuse me.
Bernie, do you recall what Tara was talking about when we were on that conference call with her regarding the bill adjustment policy? Either you or she had brought it up.
This is in relationship to the issue that we ended up with when the data got corrupted and.
Right.
And we're gonna.
Talking about the bill adjustment policy?
Yeah, what happens when, because we've got the step rates, and when people have a longer billing period, then their bill goes up, because even though their usage hasn't gone up, the bill will go up, cost per gallon will have gone up. And the next month, it will be they may not benefit from the fact that the first month had 35 days and the next one had 25 days. Doesn't necessarily wash out. I don't have any proposed solution.
I think we took that as it was gonna be the previous way it was done. We were gonna have a stretch from 28 days to 35 days, so we evened that out. And this is an unforeseen extreme.
Yeah, a rare
I mean,
event.
Hopefully, they've rectified the problem, they told us they have. That if it was done the way that new policy is now,
Right.
it wouldn't even be an issue because we would have had somebody out immediately rereading the whole route.
Right. Well, so one of the issues was, and I don't think she sent any data, because
No,
I
she didn't.
asked for the data covering that period to see, because people were basically saying that their bills had gone up 40%, which didn't make any sense.
No, when are these people saying this? Because I asked Kathy when I got back and she got 0 calls from anybody complaining about the bill.
If you
Which is
stay
true.
around and talks, then we will.
It might have been on another,
Let's move on.
Yeah,
Okay.
because that's.
That's
Yeah. no
the first
problem.
thing I checked on when I got back from Florida.
If there were complaints about milk, yeah.
It was
Because-
0 calls.
Because if
Well,
someone does have a
Panachuk-
problem, call us or call Panachuk.
Right. And Panachuk hasn't got any
no,
issues either.
not that they've told me. So if someone said that, maybe they have their own leak as well as, so in addition to the 20%.
Yeah, if 2 problems occur at the same time, it's nightmare time.
Like I said, if we didn't get any calls. New business number 2, discuss budgeting for large-scale meters.
Now, can we do the non-compliance policy,
Oh, right.
Oh, what was, okay,
which is combined, which is
okay,
part of 3?
okay.
So the non-compliance is what we do when people, we want to check their meters and people refuse to allow us entry to switch or change or adjust their meters.
Yes, Bob, well, I'm sure you all have, but recently Bob has had spent more time going to people's homes who have requested services and he can't get in. And it's a lot of time wasted.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna request a service, there has to be some sort of,
Yeah, 3 times in a row.
which is generous.
Well, the one thing is, it depends on what the service is. Most of the time, getting into the house is gonna be for a meter, which the longer it goes not fixed, it doesn't fail to our favor. It always fails to the consumer favor. They always slow down or stop.
Okay.
So there has to be so many, I would say that after so many attempts, that maybe they get put on the shut-off list.
Same with felons, 3 strikes and you're out. So-
You know, I mean,
Insurance,
So, yeah, so Tara had suggested, we just create a non-compliance letter that will be mailed to the customers, the time frame usually to respond within
Mhm.
14 days. If no response, then a disconnect notice for non-compliance will be mailed, giving the customer 14 days to schedule an appointment or the water will be disconnected until the work can be performed. So she's more talking about if there's, we think there's a broken meter, right, Rob, or something like that.
well, that's the thing, is the longer,
So it has
the
to be-
meters don't break in our favor.
Right, so, right. But
So-
it can be for every circumstance, though.
No, you mean like we're going for just a regular complaint about kind of some high usage and they're just not there?
No,
to
that's
talk to?
different. What I'm talking about is meter repairs,
Okay,
or
so this is for
replacement or
insurance.
repairs.
So it's really that we're initiating the call
Mhm.
Right,
rather than they.
Right.
Because we think there's something wrong with the meter.
And they should at least make an effort to contact us.
mhm,
And if worst came to worst, we do have a guy that works part-time on weekends that maybe could go out on a weekend and throw in a meter or something,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, documented,
you know? It's,
Yeah, I mean, in fairness to
but try to
People
do it
not
to
responding,
days. But
it is,
Yeah,
it has to be
we
rechecked.
can-
no, exactly. He's got the treatment plant to worry about and stuff, but if
Special circumstances, yeah, I don't think you would mind at all, go out
Exactly.
there and
But that's on a case by case basis, and
So what do we do? How do we do this? Do we have to run?
I would say that somebody needs to write one up, or you get one from Penachuk,
Write up the non-compliance.
and don't read. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure other towns have them.
Can you take a stab at that, Kevin?
Yes.
Do I?
No, that's good.
So we'll put it on the next
So
agenda.
we'll make that a motion that Kathy work with Penachuk and make up our policy and send it out to us when you get it done, so we can review it in advance.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Now we're on new business number 2. Budgeting large-scale meters. I assume that's you?
I didn't put it on here, but if you want to, we have about 50 large-scale meters in town. If you wanted to replace them all in 1 year, it'd be around $130,000 to buy all the meters and replace all of them. All the
Whose
large-
responsibility are the large-scale meters?
What's that?
Whose responsibility are they?
Right now, the owner is responsible for the large-scale meters. I don't agree with that, because now they pretty much, if they're going to have to buy their own meter, they're not going to rebuy their own meter. We would have to have other policies in place, to be like, oh, if you don't spend the $6,000 on replacing that meter, we'll shut your water off or something. But if they do spend the $6,000 on their water meter, they kind of technically legally would own it in a way. They could have a pretty good case on that they actually now own that water meter, because they did go out
They purchased it.
and buy it, which I'm just very uncomfortable with that. That is the current policy. I'm very uncomfortable with it. If we were to do away with that and just replace our meters, which they really are kind of our meters, to do all the large scale ones, it'd be around $130,000 in one fiscal year.
Is that just the equipment, or does that include the labor to do it?
That does include labor.
Do they need to be replaced?
A lot of them do.
I mean, or do they
The
just
large
need,
scale ones.
or do they need to be recalibrated? Where
They-
somebody comes in and they take them apart and they recalibrate them.
What they do now is they have just, it wouldn't be the entire meter. They have rebuild kits, where they basically take the old guts out of the meter and put new guts in. And it's the same thing as a brand new meter. They don't have to, some of the really big meters, you don't have to re-change out the brass body, because it doesn't ever change.
Where I'm going here is that's what they did when I worked here.
Yeah.
They had actually, I believe the water department had a grant, and because we were changing all the meters to the prorate meters at the time, and all the big meters, we had a company hired to come in, and they went over every single meter and recalibrated them and replaced what they needed to replace in them.
So how critical is this to get done? I mean, I think we're losing money because of it, but, so, my thoughts are, do we do it, is it something we can bring in a contractor to do as a sub-job, one, or two, do we wanna set it up and split it up into 2 years? Do 25 1 year, 25 the next? Again, do we need contract resources to do this?
I would like to use contract resources.
Yeah, you get somebody taking a meter apart and fixing it, you need somebody that I would assume would have the certifications to do that, because you're talking, measuring people's amount that they...
And so to do that, we'll probably have to go out and shut the water off at that location for a period of time. And if it's a business, they're not gonna be keen on that during business hours.
Huh.
So it'll be after hours and weekends, so that's adding to the cost. And it just seems to me that, it's $130 for the physical stuff, and probably double, off the top of my head, just double it for the labor. And my thoughts are maybe just, from a budget standpoint, cut it in two, half this year, half the next.
But I think we need to do more research on what actually needs to be done and what the cost would be.
Right, I'm still waiting for the SEER program from Thai Sales, and they have to work with Penachuk to get this done, and everyone's just been really busy. That SEER program is supposed to do all of that. Whereas this is the revenue that's coming in, this is how inaccurate the meter is, this is what you should be getting, and this is how much it would cost to replace it. This is
When was the last time they were done?
the meters, 10 years ago?
Even the big meters were done? Okay.
Even big meters.
So 10 years, meters are supposed to be 10 years and replaced.
The small ones.
Most of them, just they all wear out.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the pressure on us from a governance issue, as far as I understand, from the state issue, is that we've got a lot of unaccounted.
We have a lot of unaccounted for water, yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so we're
And that was,
exposed to.
that was the same issue that it was back when I worked here, it was to account for unaccounted for water.
Right, so we've accounted for the leak program we just went through,
Mm-hmm.
found essentially not much.
No, it's a significant amount. That
That's a
one
significant
leak
leak.
was 50 gallons per minute.
The one
But
out here.
compared to the unaccounted for amounts.
Compared to unaccounted for a total, it may help even it out a little bit by the end of the year. I don't think we fixed that leak fast enough. We're definitely going to be over by the end of the year.
Well,
Over the 10% that we're allowed.
Oh, do the best we can.
well, I mean, but that gap is the driver for getting this
Yeah,
Maybe we
done.
do it all at once.
Yeah.
Price it up and.
do a little
I
more
know we can
research.
do
on it.
the largest ones. There's 40 2-inch meters, but there's about the other 10 of the large.
I know there's like
3
a
and
6
4,
inch,
6
one
inch.
up on Lawrence Road.
Yeah, and those are kind of the ones you want to hit first, because those are the big.
Millwood has at least a 4, if not a
Right.
bigger.
That's the apartment complex.
And again, yeah, 130 is a very rough estimate. And the other thing is, a lot of them you don't buy the whole meter, you just buy the replacement guts, take the old stuff out, the new stuff in.
So you
Alright,
can
so
research
then-
that some more and
So it's a fraction of the price, because that's a lot of, it's just all brass body on the bottom. That's where the bulk of the money is it's a lot of brass. Goes into
So
those meters.
do whatever you can to kind of get the vendor to push Penachuk to kind of get this thing
Yep.
moving. Particularly with the top 10.
so we all set. You gonna do some more research on that?
Yeah, definitely. Again, I'm still waiting to do the actual SEER program, which kind of does all this work.
Well, there you go. Number 4, discuss abatement application for Wilson Pond Road.
I just got the calculation today, so I don't think I was able to send you this for the next one.
So I think this one looks like it's a no-brainer. And Rob, you had the colour commentary on what the issue was?
There was a leak in his yard. He had a meter pit. Found the leak, called in the contractor to fix it. He ended up with the contractor. He had to replace his whole service line to actually repair the leak. But he's not looking for that money back, right? Let's just show him proof that he fixed it.
Yeah, because they have to prove that they fixed it. That's why it's there.
But it's also to the point about the other abatement that we discussed. This was done on a very timely basis. So they saw the problem, they jumped on the problem, and we've resolved the problem, and we're all within less than 60 days elapsed on that.
Do you know how much the abatement amount they're looking for it?
$773.40.
So it was a big leak.
And this one doesn't help our water loss at all.
Yeah. No, it looks like, to be honest, it was straightforward. I'm gonna make a motion to approve.
Second,
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. $14 Jellison. With Gelson,
Yeah.
right across from, Railroad Avenue.
Oh, yeah, okay, I drive up it almost every day. Yeah.
Oh, I think we
I
don't
don't
want
want
it.
it. Yeah. Massive increase in our water.
This one, I think you guys reviewed already, and then I had to postpone it.
No, I haven't seen this one.
All right, go on.
Unless they had it last meeting.
But Kathy did have it, and she circled her initials on 810, so
Yeah,
it did apply timely.
yes, he did. I think we're waiting, I don't know what we're waiting for.
It's for the end of the month or something, what I remember,
They
that,
wanted to wait and see what his next bill was, Rob, is that what it was?
yeah, something like that.
That's all.
74,000, thanks.
So
Did they
I
fix it?
make a motion to accept the abatement.
I'll second.
Motion seconded, made and seconded,
Yeah.
to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
I think we waited because we didn't know whether it was fixed.
I think we asked for more documentation. They got it all in time. It was
Yeah.
just our meetings.
I think we needed the invoice.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Okay.
Because they did jump right on it. Yikes.
What did we have budgeted for it? Do you know?
The, were we on the cap plow?
Yes,
8,900?
so it's within budget.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. With the hope we don't have to use it.
Yeah.
I won't use it.
You mean on the.
It'd be a lot easier on the-
It's a plow specifically for the cap, and what we can do with it is like, the town actually doesn't have a plow for like a tractor or a Caterpillar. They actually hire out a contractor to go around town, like push snowbanking back and do like, dirt roads, things that like a regular truck just really struggles to do.
In our roads, it would be a lot easier along dirt roads.
Is it gonna put more wear and tear on wiping out our backup?
You can, if we have to go out there and use it, yeah, it'll put some wear and tear on it. But we'll mostly be doing our stuff, and if the town isn't going to be getting rid of the contractor, they're very good at doing it, they won't be getting rid of the contractor doing like the dirt roads and stuff. But if they ever need to, and it's ever a really major storm, I mean, we definitely go out there for a few nights.
For cleaning out any of our areas?
We just try to do it with a truck.
No, we do with the truck. It puts a lot of strain on the trucks, actually. It'd be less strain for the.
This will make the dirt roads going to the treatment plant and stuff a lot easier.
Sure. That makes sense.
Between that and when we get the new truck with the V-plow, we'll make it a lot easier too. All right, vote on awarding contract to Dennis A. Meher Company for well number 3 in Frontend cleaning and redevelopment. Did they give you a time frame when they were able to do this, or?
We haven't technically hired him yet. Soon.
No, but if you, I don't know if you had talked to them officially.
I have. What is it, October now? Jeez. It would definitely probably be the beginning of November when they started it.
Okay.
Well, I'm just confused, but Dennis Almar and Mott Services,
They're-
companies?
Yeah,
Or
they're
brothers that don't get along.
something like that. So yeah, they're very similar sounding companies that both do the same thing.
Okay.
And they're like two
Probably dad started the business and brothers didn't get along.
I don't know the background, but
You
it's,
know,
Then
I was
you
being
got-
flip, I don't wanna know the background.
yeah.
Other than, do we check out the low bidder Do you know them?
Yeah, all that paperwork went over to Tater and Howard, and Tater and Howard reviewed everything before they sent us this final approval that, yes, everything checks out. You can sign for it.
Okay. Make a motion to accept the low bid?
Seconded.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
You can all signature stuff?
Yep.
Okay.
John Mayhew next.
Just as we're waiting for this, remember we hired a contractor to look at the spaghetti at the bottom of Prospect Hill? Is that happening?
We haven't.
It's going to be happening. I actually just had a conversation about that. That just started. What I asked for is just take a kind of review of what's going on there right now, and then come up with a few different options for future construction. That we won't actually be taking any action right now because it's just not in the budget. But to come up with some different ways of solving the issue.
I just random thought, but it's under, number one general business, so I apologize for jumping out of that. Well,
That's fine.
I just remembered it and was wondering about that. Did this thing say sign 4 copies of that contract?
Yeah.
I only have one.
Oh, it did say 4?
That's what I'm asking. I think,
Oh, I thought it said,
I thought I might have saw it.
So I've got a copy of mine.
Please have the Board of Water Commissioners execute 4 copies of the enclosed notice of award.
Okay.
If you could.
So there's.
So I've got a set,
I got a set.
and here's one more.
and we need just the last page, right?
Yes.
Okay. There's 2. And 3. Oh, I pulled it apart, I just had the
Yeah,
signature page.
yeah, you should
You
have the
think
whole
it's-
thing.
Should have the whole thing.
Oh, jeez, alright.
I'm gonna restaple these back together with the whole
Okay.
contract.
There you go.
Yeah, it is part of one. Everyone needs it. Everything but the signature page, I think.
That's the contract.
There you go.
That's a whole one. That's a whole one.
No,
Next month.
hopefully next month, not this month.
That's a whole one.
One more.
Glad we caught that.
You better to sign this one.
Maybe I'll cruise
The
it
date
in
is
the
the other
side
day.
stuff.
Yep.
Oh,
Somehow we need 4?
Yeah.
I think we have
I
5.
think we have 5.
Ah, we worry about it, we're plenty.
Yeah, we can sign the 5th next one.
We'll save it for ourselves.
All right.
Anything under discuss future and current operations of the department?
I've got to notice Hillside was paved.
Woo!
Yeah.
Home.
So we're ahead.
Really?
Yep.
I was getting flack starting at 117 for all the residents. And then some of the neighbors. That's good. Any issues getting it done?
No, not at all. I'm done in like 4 hours or something.
Nice.
Water ban is officially done with.
Yep.
There's plenty of water in the Park River stream. It's past October 1st. We can, we'll wait for Kathy. Kathy, the water ban is officially over with, so we can start taking any notifications out of the guys, take down any signs. And I'm going to need to start chatting with the commissioner about a permanent Georgetown fee for the Georgetown Water Department. They'd like to look into, possibly in the future, having a permanent connection for taking water on a daily basis.
Backup for them?
I think more on a daily basis.
Just daily augmentation?
Yeah.
Very good, there you go.
So-
Well, what's that do with our water permit?
Well, so this is just a preliminary, we need to start, I'd like to start talking about it with the commissioner. There's gonna be a lot of discussions. But we really just need to kind of start with the basics before we go any further. Because yeah, there's a lot goes into it. A lot of permanent samples, budgeted rates, all that stuff.
And they approached us?
Yes.
If you like, I will, as long as you tell them we have to meet at the fire station. I'll start meeting if that's all right with you guys. I probably know more about the hydraulics and
You do, and
stuff.
my availability is not great during the day.
So the only thing that I would say is we should make sure we have a big picture, which is if we sell them more water, we can lower our overall rates. And therefore, the rate to them would go down as well. So when it was a short-term emergency thing, I think we came to the right decision. You want this water for 3 weeks or a month, then it's $24 a 1,000 gallons. If it's a year or more, then, and our permit will accommodate it, then we should try and run the numbers. But even push them, because I think if we make any change in the rates, we want to hold it for 3 years, which means if we're going to do that, then they have to be prepared to sign a 3-year contract.
Well, I think it's contingent money. From our standpoint, we may set it up, they may never use it. And so from our budget planning.
But they're saying they will
That's
do
what, yeah, that's what they're thinking, is that they'd actually, it's not for emergency, it's actually for daily usage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So an augmentation to them?
Mm.
I don't know if you guys have been following the Georgetown water at all.
No.
We have a Georgetown resident.
Wow, what's going on?
It-
They have some violations that they have to deal with.
And again, this is just preliminary discussion, so nothing's official at all. It was just a small
That
conversation
was
today.
Bruce, the permanent superintendent, or is
Are
he
you guys think he's just acting right
still
now?
acting?
Yeah.
So, if you want to set up a meeting.
Yeah.
And they said we have to meet at the station, but.
There's a lot to go over, there'll be a ton of meetings.
We're open to talk to them, why not?
Yeah.
Next door neighbors. What are the violations? Water quality or?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
I think that's it for new business.
A couple of questions. Paving you said about, and then Pennachuck. I had a note on my calendar. Pennachuck contract is up, I think in the spring. April, so then we start the budget process, we should think about, re-upping or putting it out for bid, whatever we want to do. I don't know what we want to do.
Actually, I was just
I'm
talking
gonna
to
look at the
Kathy about
contract.
that, is to get the contract and see if it had provisions to extend.
It doesn't.
Okay,
That's it.
okay, because I didn't see the copy of it, so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, I called Bernie about something else earlier this year, and I talked to him about it, and I don't think there's an extension, but, because what I wanna do is just say, let's do a 5-year, and I think generally you have to do 3 with an extension for 2.
Yeah, that's what I was discussing with Kathy earlier.
Yeah.
That's because you can't, I don't believe you can get into a contract with some exceptions outside of town meeting for more than 3 years.
Yeah, so I'd be willing to go to town meeting, frankly, but, I think it'll help us negotiate
Mhm.
powerfully, but the problem is it's after town meeting.
So, yeah,
Look at some other towns, see what they're.
We can
I mean,
sign a contract whenever we want. Why would we have to wait till after?
If we wanted an exception to the rule, if we wanted to do a long-term contract.
Well,
but I think if we did one with, you could automatically re-up it afterwards.
Like 3 with the
so
2-year
this
extension.
Something like that,
this
yeah.
will have to go out to bid though, right?
I don't know. You know,
I mean, more than likely, given the rules that
And
we
you
have.
research that with
I will.
Debbie and
I will.
uh,
I think
Natalie,
it's anything over 10,000,
so
okay,
find out what we
but I'll
have to do.
find out.
yeah. So, I mean, I'm satisfied with them, I'd like to stay with them, I think it would cost more to switch
Mm-hmm.
if we had to.
We'd have to re-put all the added data into somebody else's system, same as if you were to bring it back into house. Besides hiring the people, you'd have to get a program and
Cost
re-input.
prohibitive, so, I think that, yeah, well,
We'll see what the bids come in at.
and the procurement issues,
Mhm.
so, okay. That was the payment kind of check. Great. That was all I had.
You got anything ready?
No,
All right, we'll move on to minutes.
I was not here September 4th, so I will be not here.
But I wasn't here the 18th, so we can take turns. Got a chance to review the 4th, right?
I have now. I'll make a motion to accept the fourth.
Second it? All
Abstain.
those in favor?
Aye.
One abstention. September 18th,
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by
I
saying
haven't, I said 1 second.
Oh, okay.
You said second. No.
aye. Sorry, Bernie.
1 minute. Second.
Made and seconded this time. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Abstain, I was not there. Motion passes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.